After Beryl, somebody decided the best way to get a message to Center Point was to paint it on the side of the highway in graffiti, and it's catching a lot of attention this morning.
Yeah, and as of right now, more than 1.1 million customers still waiting for their power to be restored. KPRC2's Rochelle Turner is live near I-10 in Sawyer to show us the message. Rochelle.
Sophia, Owen, good morning to you. Take a look. The sign says Center Pointless. And a lot of people are expressing their frustration about the power company's response after Hurricane Beryl. Some people feel like the power company wasn't prepared and waited too late to send help. Now, we know that a lot of you are frustrated waking up another day without the power, but that sign, it has nothing to do with those workers who are putting in several hours to get the power back on. Now, CenterPoint released a new map yesterday that shows the restoration process. Based on the progress, the company expects to have the power restored to 400,000 customers by tomorrow, 350,000 by the end of Sunday, and that means 350,000 additional customers will still be without power until next week.
Hey YouTube world, Harvest is Plenty. Thanks for stopping by to check out the video. Please don't forget to hit that like button for me. So it's day 4 in the city of Houston, Texas, and anger and frustration grows as over more than 1 million people are still without power. As this headline says here, anger mounts in Texas as crippling power outages and heat turn deadly. Let me just read something for you guys, and then we're going to get into the sights and sounds in Houston and also talk about having a 72-hour emergency kit. So it says here, frustrations are mounting across southeast Texas as residents enter a 4th day of crippling power outages and heat, a combination that has proven dangerous and at times deadly as some struggle to access food, gas, and medical care. More than 1.3 million homes and businesses across the region are still without power after Beryl slammed into the Gulf Coast as a Category 1 hurricane on Monday, leaving at least 11 people dead across Texas and Louisiana. Many residents are sheltering with friends or family who still have power, but some can't afford to leave their homes, Houston City Councilman Julian Ramirez told CNN. And while countless families have lost food in their warming fridges, many stores are still closed, leaving government offices, food banks, and other public services scrambling to distribute food to undeserved areas, he said. These folks have no choice but to stay home and tough it out, he said. As residents desperately try to cool their homes with generators, carbon monoxide poisoning has become a serious concern. At least 2 people have died in Harris County from carbon monoxide poisoning, and fire departments have received more than 200 carbon monoxide poisoning calls in 24 hours, local officials said. A 71-year-old woman died near Crystal Beach after her oxygen machine ran out of battery power and her generator shut down. While officials said the woman's official cause of death has yet to be determined, it renewed calls for residents to check on their loved ones and neighbors. So wow, you have food banks closed, businesses closed, grocery stores closed, even though I hear some of the H-E-B grocery stores are fully stocked on the outskirts. People using generators who have never used them before, they're dying or getting sick from carbon monoxide poisoning. Some individuals who need oxygen don't have backup power, so they're also being rushed to the hospital or dying. I've read many reports concerning those things. It's just a sad situation. So please keep the people in Houston lifted up in prayer. As I said, I have family and friends there. I've checked with many of them. Some have power, some don't. Some have decided to leave the city and travel out to the outskirts, 100 miles or more, to find hotels. It's just a bad situation for a lot of people. But let's check out some of the sights and sounds around Texas.
Take a look at this line. It is wrapped around the parking lot, doubled, tripled up, just showing you how many people are in need. Joanne Posey lives in Houston's Copperfield community. Since Hurricane Beryl's arrival Monday, her power has been replaced with Mother Nature's heat.
It's hard. You just keep faith, and sweating going down your face, and you look at your children and you try to make the best of it.
She was one of the hundreds lining up Wednesday morning at Leroy Crump Stadium, a food and water distribution organized by Councilwoman Tiffany Thomas.
Because we are prepared and not in panic.
In these boxes, much needed free necessities, food, snacks, and water, enough for 500 vehicles.
I was grateful. I jumped out of bed, got my shoes on, and headed here.
Gratefulness even in unbearable circumstances.
Definitely running out in a lot of different places. We're right up the Southwest Freeway at the Exxon, not too far from the station. This is what you see if you pull up here. All gas sold out. You'll see bags hanging over the gas pumps just to indicate, hey, there's nothing there. People pull up and they quickly leave after realizing that what they're so in desperate need of is not here. They have been frustrated going from store to store trying to find this gas. Store owners are saying, hey, we are all tapped out. And often they pull up after going to a few stations running on fumes. Here's some of what they said. How long you said you've been looking for gas?
A day and a half.
A day and a half. So you've been going to a lot of stations?
A lot of stations. There's been a lot of people tripping, you know what I'm saying, thinking you're skipping, all type of stuff, man.
I saw that for myself last night. A lot of people getting pretty upset in these gas.
Yeah, man, a lot of people. And then, you know, a lot of people just filling up the little gas cans. They ain't even filling up their trucks and cars.
Have you dealt with this type of thing before, like after a storm?
This is the first. No, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I moved to Houston a couple years ago. I'm from Chicago. We didn't get that many.
Totally different.
Yeah, very different.
Very different. Welcome to Texas. Welcome to Houston specifically. So,
with more than 1.5 million of us out of power, desperation grows.
I was there for like 3 hours online waiting. Finally, I got a full tank, and now this is what I'm doing right now, trying to find a generator, but I can't find nothing.
No propane, no generators. The signs tell the story.
With generators, especially whole home generators, that was what we would call a luxury good. But here in Houston, it is a necessity.
Abacus Plumbing, Air Conditioning, and Electrical has set up shop in a hotel. The businesses and most employees are also without power today, and calls are only expected to increase this week.
I think the real test is when power starts restoring. We always see an uptick in calls because just things are wrong that we're not aware about till the power starts coming on, and then surge and all those factors play.
Last storm we had a few weeks ago, my lights didn't go out. Oh, but this time, they apparently did. I got water and a few snacks, but I wasn't prepared like this.
And a lot of people are looking for ways to cool off, especially after losing power and this triple-digit feels-like temperature. But what we're noticing is long lines at gas stations. A lot of people are depending on their car's AC to help cool them off, creating a longer line at the pump and costing you more money in the end.
No, I don't have power, no water. I mean, nothing. Everything is going out right now.
Are you getting gas for your car, your generator, or both?
Well, I'm getting it for my vehicle now because I don't have a generator. So, yeah.
So how are you cooling off?
Well, right now I'm just here waiting. They said about 2 or 3 hours they'll get gas, so I'm just waiting it out. But in the meantime, I'm just staying in the store trying to stay cool.
Starting with filling up your bathtub before the storm hits, so at least you have a starting point for cooling off and water. And experts say make sure to talk to your children ahead of the storm so that they're operating from a place of confidence and not fear. That also means you can give them the responsibilities so that they're working with you, not against you.
I was surprised it didn't hit the house, but it hit the porch.
Okay. And so now what are you doing?
We're filling up gas for my grandpa. Just have gas in the house, and we're going to go get him some.
Absolutely, sir. And speaking of resources, when it comes to going to grocery stores, buying gas, those are the resources we need right now during a hurricane or after a hurricane. And we're checking in with you because you are the key law enforcement individual or the individual who is monitoring price gouging here in Harris County. And there was a number that we posted on the Isaiah Factor and also on social media, and people have been going to that number. Have you guys had any kind of reaction? What are you hearing when it comes to price gouging here in Harris County?
It's illegal in the state of Texas to gouge prices, to raise them excessively. when there's a disaster that's going on. And so we're talking about necessities. This is things like gasoline, lodging, food. And so we've heard from folks throughout the county. We've heard about gas stations, about hotels. And what we do in my office is we get those reports and then we go out and we investigate. And if we do find that folks are raising prices excessively, we send them a cease and desist letter. And what we've seen is almost 100% in previous storms, voluntary compliance. So, you know, when you show up with the power of government behind you and you stand face to face with those business owners and you say, you're doing this and you need to stop, they tend to stop. So we want folks across this county to continue to report so that we can have the information we need to make these folks stop gouging.
Absolutely. And when you confront these individuals, do you follow back up to make sure, or you rely on the public to let you know if they're breaking the rules? And if they've done it multiple times, then what happens to those individuals, those business owners?
So we look out for the most egregious violators, and we tend to follow up with those folks and make sure that they haven't resorted to their own ways, their old ways. But we rely heavily on the public. And what we have not seen an instance where there was a company that was gouging, we went out to them, we forced them to stop, and then they went back and kept doing it after that. If they were to do that, if we were to find a company that stopped gouging and then went back, resorted to their old ways, we would definitely see them in court. We would file a lawsuit against them for violating Texas law. You know, we've seen some instances of gas being marked up $1 additional a gallon, right? With gas prices, you know, similar to somewhere like California and not Texas. So we want people to report these instances to us so that we can go out, because no company should be taking advantage of their neighbors when we're recovering from something as treacherous as this hurricane.
Inside the unit where Patricia Romano's mother has called home for a year, except for the natural light, it is dark and hot.
Around 6 o'clock Monday morning, they lost power.
And now empty.
If she was going to be without electricity, she was going to do it with me and my husband and my sister and my family.
Patricia packed up her 92-year-old mother and took her home. Beatrice Marquez, one of 85 residents at Ellis Springs, an assisted senior living community where electricity is more than a necessity.
Right now, we're trying to keep the backup generator we have to power the essential stuff like cooking and, you know, oxygen tanks and stuff like that.
Ian Wu is one of the owners. He says their facility is registered with CenterPoint as a critical load customer for whom electric service is considered crucial. But even with that designation, there is little clarity.
We've not gotten anything at all. I mean, we have the same customer service number that everybody else has, and I'm sure there's a million people calling. So we get put on hold and just, hours at a time, and then disconnected. So
from assisted living to senior living at the Orchard at Garden Oaks, no power means no elevator, and on the 4th floor, George Soul thinks about ways to pass the time and stay cool. Riding the bus comes to mind.
That'll keep me out of, keep me in coolness, and then it'll get me going where I want to go and without taking my vehicle,
We found residents keeping cool in the common area, while outside there's a massive generator that no longer works. Management says it needs new parts, and they are just as frustrated. Frustration is a common theme.
I think that it's ridiculous. I really do.
Patricia Romano says there must be a better way.
Don't we owe it to our people who can't take care of themselves to take care of them?
Kate, Danielle, I tried speaking with the property manager here who was on site but refused to come out of their office to speak with us. Also called the corporate offices but instead got their voicemail. People with loved ones here and even residents tell me their experience this week has been dreadful.
My experience has been awful. This is the 3rd day that we are without electricity.
Deidre McClain doesn't mince words about her experience at the Tremont's living community.
I'm not afraid to speak.
Like many, when the storm hit, they lost power. However, McClain felt property managers would better communicate to her and other residents.
They are not doing everything that they can to ensure that the residents are safe. This is a dangerous place to be in.
Lack of power isn't isolated to this facility. At least 12 nursing homes in Harris County are without power, and at least 10 assisted living facilities are operating without generators. Greg Shelley is the manager of the Harris County Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. They're advocates for residents and work with state regulators.
There's no requirement or mention of the heating and ventilation. So in extreme cold, no necessary requirement for heating. unless it gets below 20 degrees in the building. And on the condition we're in right now, no requirement to have air conditioning.
Why isn't there a requirement for living facilities, nursing homes to have generators that can fully operate for a time being?
I think the bottom line is expense, right? It's a big added expense to be able to have that kind of a generator.
Brandon Damaris got her mom out.
These people are all in here sweating to death. It's just like nothing I've ever seen. We live in Houston, Texas. I mean, it's like a third world country in there.
So as you guys can see, frustration is boiling over. There's a lot of finger pointing going on. People are losing their patience. They're frustrated with CenterPoint Energy. They're frustrated with the mayor. They're frustrated with some of the city council members. They're frustrated with some of the people who own these apartment buildings or these senior living facilities because they don't have backup generators there. Maybe the situation can get resolved quickly, but as the news report said, that some people won't get power till Sunday and some until next week. I reached out to my family and my friends via text because the cell service is still spotty in Texas. In Houston. Some have power, and I'm excited that they have power, and some don't. There are some others who decided to leave and go to San Antonio and to other places, maybe 100 miles out from the city, to find hotels to stay in because everything has been booked. The price gouging is true. Gas stations, some hotels are raising up their prices due to supply and demand. But this is typically what happens in natural disasters. We've seen it happen, Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Sandy, the hurricanes that happen in Florida. These things happen, and we know this is going to happen. That's why we have to prepare for it. It's such a sad situation, so please keep the people in Texas and Louisiana, Arkansas in your prayers. I'm really, really sorry that people have to go through this stuff. I'm really sorry that there are evil people and greedy people who are price gouging to try to gain a little bit more profit during these disastrous times. But I also want to say this. There's a time coming where the power will be shut down. Not just in your area, in your city, your suburb, your town, but nationwide. We've been told these things. We've been warned about these things. I've put up, a number of videos saying the same thing over and over and over like a broken record. Please get prepared. Please get ready. Please share my message. Not just you get ready, but also share my message with those in your community. Pick up the phone, call your family members and your friends that live in other states, and tell them to get ready because something is coming and it's going to be very bad. They have to take the whole structure down in order to raise up a new structure. And a lot of people are going to die. It's going to be so unfortunate. Can you imagine the power being out for 30 days? It's just 1 month, 30 days across the country. So there is no place that you could go to escape the heat or to escape the cold if it's the wintertime, if it happens. You could drive to the next state and there's no power there either. There's no grocery stores, no banking. The hospitals, their backup generators have went down. Klaus Schwab said all of these things since 2-3 years ago. They've been warning this stuff, and people are going to die. And there's going to be a lot of lawsuits filed, a lot of finger pointing, a lot of things that's going to go on once everything is restored months later. And I just don't want it to be you or your family members or anybody that you care about in your community. So just try to be more, what's the word I'm trying to find? Just try to be more prepared. Be more vigilant about what's going on. Look at what's happening in Texas if you don't live in the Texas area. And think about, okay, if that was me, what could I have done better to prepare? If you put together a generator, think about carbon monoxide poisoning. Have some carbon monoxide, things to see if the levels are rising in your house. Plug that in the generator as well, so you can monitor that stuff. Think about food, think about water, think about medicine. Just think about all of that stuff. Security. Think about your neighbors, first aid, CPR, learn those stuff. Take Stop the Bleed, it's free. There's a lot of things that you guys could do to get prepared for this stuff. I'm going to leave a video at the end talking about disaster preparedness. It's weird because I was watching TV and a disaster preparedness commercial comes on and it said that a disaster is coming. And I'm like, huh. And so again, more predictive programming is telling you a disaster is coming. You should be prepared. And it says you should have at least 72 hours worth of stuff. Food, supplies, water, everything. A little kit, a 72-hour emergency preparedness kit on hand. So at least people could do that. You could go to the dollar store, with $10, $20, $30. You could get water. You get some canned goods. You get a can opener. You get some candles. You get some duct tape. You get a lot of stuff there, to prepare for at least 3 days, 72 hours. Also, again, try to find some type of backup power supply. That's going to be really important, especially for people that are on oxygen tanks, CPAPs, all kind of stuff like that. If you are fortunate enough and have a little extra money, maybe you could, pitch in and buy something for somebody else in your community that may need some type of backup power. I try to do what I can with the little that I have. I don't have $1 billion, but when I do have some excess cash, I try to help people out that I can. But yeah, keep everybody prayed up. You guys get prepared, get ready. Eventually, this thing may come in our door front too. So that's all I have today. Love you guys. Take care. God bless to you and your family.
The next disaster is coming. The time to get ready is now. Make a plan. Identify meetup locations and people you'll need to contact. Put your contact list in your wallet, on your phone, and somewhere visible in your home. Build a kit. Store enough food and water for 3 days. Don't forget your pets. And consider buying a pre-made kit. Keep at least 7 days of medication on hand. Work with your pharmacist and insurance company to secure the extra doses. Make copies of important documents. Keep them on your phone, in the cloud, or on a USB stick. Stay informed. Learn about local hazards. Take courses in CPR and first aid. And sign up for local alert systems. An early warning can give you the time you need to prepare for a fast-moving disaster. Be ready. Learn more at americares.org/send-us-in.